Hello, welcome to the PHP tutorials. So I guess some of you already may know some of the PHP or are familiar with other languages. So now there are plenty of PHP tutorials on the web and YouTube. So I thought of taking a little different approach about learning PHP. So now let me lay out what I have in mind. And I think it's important for you to sort of get a perspective of or get some sort of a knowing how to learn the PHP. Now, essentially, I would put it in two different buckets. One is just PHP, which is the learning the language, which is let me put it. Learning the language. Okay, looks like my handwriting has become a little better this time. And the other is PHP in context of web development skill. Web development skill. So the reason these two are important categorization is because even though PHP is very much used as a web development, and if you want to learn PHP primarily to the web development skills, you may want to separate out your learning into two different buckets. One is sort of learning the core pieces of the language, which has to do with PHP 4, PHP 5, what are the different functions available, or how to write good PHP, how can you do some of PHP programming for writing some pure backend type of interfaces as opposed to doing some website. So those are the pure PHP language skills. Now for PHP web development, learning PHP in the context of web development means you are talking about really learning a little bit of CSS, learning MySQL, and also very important is that learning the model view controller, whatever the other frameworks, because no one writes or very few people write PHP in a procedural code in like the old days. A lot of people right now use model view controller frameworks or MVC frameworks. So the reason I'm saying is that because if you learn PHP within this context, then you have to get maybe a little bit more learning about each of these topics. So what I would like to do in my videos is I would briefly touch upon the PHP learning the language, and I'll talk about different features, different functions, the PHP 4 versus PHP 5, and etc. etc. You probably have already found a lot of text or videos on the web already there. But I think I would also like to focus a lot on the PHP learning in the context of web development and how really PHP is set up within the context of using a framework, using MySQL, using CSS. Okay, so with that, if you have that perspective in mind, that will be helpful. And then the other part also I would like to talk about is tools. Now, the reason this is important is that PHP learning becomes much easier if you if you're using the right set of tools. That means MySQL, MySQL interface. Like if there are few available like PHP admin or MySQL workbench. Then another very important part is sort of IDE, which is kind of a editor for your doing programming, and then there are other tools. Sometimes if you debug PHP code, you may end up using Firebug or other sort of editors for more HTML side. And then I would briefly touch upon using PHP in the context of not web development. So let's say, and that's some place PHP is not used much. So backend development, that I mean, or sorry, meaning let's say if you want to write pure a script which which doesn't do anything to do with website, but basically let's say does a nightly job which updates some tables based on certain information in the database. So let me write as backend PHP. Okay, let's see if I can get my typing clear. Backend PHP. Some people say it CLI, clients. I think it's something to do with client interface. But what is this? Is that how PHP is used in writing pure backend scripting, which has nothing to do with the web development. So those are the three areas I would like to cover, and hope you have a good experience or find something different than what you have found others. But if you're starting new and haven't seen anywhere, I think these tutorials would be helpful. I would be focusing a lot on how PHP is used in the real world, and what are the different ways you can really be super smart when you start with PHP. Thank you, and look forward to seeing you in our videos.